A former pro linebacker, Carl Weathers had a long acting career that reached beyond the boxing ring, appearing in action films, comedies, and TV dramas, and earning an Emmy nomination. He went on from doling out bone-crunching hits as a linebacker from the Oakland Raiders to delivering knockout punches on the big screen as Apollo Creed, the nemesis of Sylvester Stallone, is a lovable lug prize fighter movie known as Rocky, helping to spark one of Hollywood's most successful franchises. Carl Weathers died on Thursday. Carl Weathers was 76. His family said in a statement that he died peacefully in his sleep. The statement did not give a cause or say where he passed away. Mr. Weathers had a long and varied acting career that took him far beyond the boxing ring. He displayed his range for some 80 film and television credits. He memorably parodied himself as an acting coach in several episodes of the sitcom Arrested Development. Recently, he was the voice of Combat Carl in the animated movie Toy Story 4. And he played Grief Karga in the Star Wars television series The Mandalorian, earning an Emmy Award nomination in 2021 for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series. Earlier, in the Adam Sandler golf comedy Happy Gilmore in 1966, Mr. Weathers earned laughed as Chubbs, who had been the star of the professional circuit before he lost his hand to an alligator attack. Even so, his Apollo Creed character cast a long shadow. After the release in 1976 of Rocky, which was nominated for 10 Academy Awards, won 3, including Best Picture, Mr. Weathers reprised his role as Apollo Creed in the next 3 installments, evolving from the title character's motor-mouthed Muhammad Ali-like rival to Rocky's trusted friend and trainer. His Creed got one more shot at boxing immortality in the exuberant and sometimes, if not cartoonish, Rocky IV, which he squared off against the Soviet supervillain Drago, played by Dolph Lundgren. Creed's star-spangled entrance in the fateful match, wearing sequins and an Uncle Sam hat while strutting and prancing among casino showgirls, as James Brown, appearing as himself, belts out the anthem, "Living in America, ow!" all the time. Seemed at the time to be the antithesis of the morning in America pop culture patriotism of the Reagan era. The good vibes would not last to the end of the sequence, however, as Drago pummeled Creed to death with a battering ram left hook right to the jaw. With his signature character killed off, Mr. Weathers worried about his professional future. After so many years of doing a character who is indelible, who is well recognized around the world, People in every language who have seen movies have seen the Rocky movies and have seen Apollo Creed. What happens is very often people begin to confuse you with the character, he once said in a television interview. There is no Carl Weathers. Movie producers, he added, tend to do the same thing. His fears would prove unwarranted. With his He-Man charisma and sculpted physique, Mr. Weathers matched bulging biceps with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 1987 action movie Predator. A year later, he leveraged his Rocky fame to leading man status, playing a crusading Detroit cop in Action Jackson. Reviewing that movie for the New York Times, Walter Goodman noted that Mr. Weathers was a member of the highly developed upper torso school of movie hero. Mr. Weathers chaffed at such categorizations. This label of movie star doesn't really have anything to do with being a really fine actor or artist, he said in an interview with British GQ in 2020. Enough promotion of any person, enough movies where that person gets to be shown in a particular light can make them a movie star. That doesn't mean their chops are there as an actor to play a character that is perhaps unlike them, with complicated ideas behind the dialogue. Carl Weathers was born January 14th, 1948, in New Orleans. He said in interviews that he considered acting his first love, and he began performing in plays in elementary school. Still, his high football prowess led him to play defensive end for the San Diego State University under the future NFL Hall of Fame coach Don Coryell during a bountiful 2-year run for the Aztecs. The team went 11-0 in 1969, although Mr. Weathers missed much of the season with a knee injury. All the while, he kept his acting dreams alive, graduating with a degree in theater arts. But he also kept his sights on football and became an undrafted linebacker the next year for the NFL's most notorious wild bunch, the Raiders. A lasting career in the league was a long shot, though. He was what we call a tweener. Raymond Chester, a tight end, who had been one of his teammates of his, said in an interview last year with Sports Illustrated. Carl was strong and fast and had good size, but he was small for a linebacker. Today, Carl would be a safety. That would have been a perfect position for him back then. He had everything it took. He was smart. He could run like a deer. And man, he was chiseled. Such a magnificent athlete. Mr. Weathers appeared in 7 games with Oakland in 1970, but the next season, during a practice after the first game, he was summoned to see John Madden, the Raiders coach and future star broadcaster. He was being cut from the roster. And Madden, looking at him, said, "You're just too sensitive." "I couldn't let it go, man," Mr. Weathers told Sports Illustrated, recalling the moment. "Kind of put a chip on my shoulder. On one hand, it was like a wound on the other, because as a football player, certainly as a professional football player, the last thing you want to hear is that you're too sensitive. On the other hand, without that sensitivity, how could I be an actor? How could I be an actor of any worth? Really?" Complete information on survivors was not immediately available. For all his blood and guts roles over the years, It was on the set of the lighthearted Happy Gilmore that Mr. Weathers suffered serious injury, fracturing 2 vertebrae in a stunt fall. Fortunately, being an athlete and having been injured a number of times, kind of learned to live with the pain, he told British GQ. By the mid-1970s, he was making regular television appearances on shows like Good Times Kung Fu, The $6 Million Man. His big break with Rocky was soon to follow, although things with Mr. Stallone, who also wrote the film, did not get off to a smooth start at the audition. There was nobody to read with. And they said, "You're going to read with the writer," Mr. Weathers told The Hollywood Reporter in 2015. "We read through the scene," he continued, "and at the end of it, I didn't feel like I had really sailed, that the scene had really sailed. And they were quiet. There was this moment of awkwardness, at least that I felt anyway. So I just blurted out, 'I could do a lot better if you got me a real actor to work with.' Mr. Stallone, it turned out, appreciated his Apollo Creed-like fire. Sometimes," Mr. Weathers added, "the mistakes are the ones that get you the gig." Carl Weathers, who played Apollo Creed and Chubbs, died on Thursday at the age of 76. Download the Live 365 app, search WDCE, and you'll be able to be someone who can listen to this tribute that I have. We just made it here this morning when we came in here to the station. Little tribute to Carl Weathers. Of course, we want to thank him for his time and all the memories that he gave us. The memories that he gave us as we watched his television and movie career blossom. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family. As we honor Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed, Chubbs, and Dylan, you son of a gun. Broadcasting live from the WDCE studios out of the University of Richmond, you're listening to 90.1 FM from the most trusted puppet in media. Reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday morning.